Hey, today is Tuesday, July the 14th, 2026, and today I want to talk about the X trilogy by director Ty West. The movies X, Pearl, and Maxxxine, because I finally got around to actually seeing the last one, Maxxxine. Um, and I also rewatched Pearl, so now I can talk about them all. And I'm going to watch them in the order that they were released, which is also the order in which I watched them. Starting with X. Um, and X is a movie that I was mildly curious about for a while, and uh, even though I was convinced that it was a movie I would not like, because I thought the premise, from what I under thought, what I understood from the premise is you have these people making a porn flick on a farm, and there's a conservative couple who owns the farm, and they find out what's going on, and they're like, oh no, not our watch, and then violence ensues. I thought that's what it was going to be. It's yeah, which I thought was, it felt like a very kind of a cheap premise. It's like, ooh, look, porn people, and ooh, look, religious, righteous indignation people, and it felt just really kind of low down stuff to be, you know, using, exploiting, whatever. So I was like, this isn't gonna work. Um, and yet I was still curious for some reason, and it happened to be on Tubi at one point, and I was like, okay, let me click on this and watch it. And I thought I'd watch it for 10, 15 minutes and then confirm that I didn't like it and turn it off. Well, that's not what happened. I got sucked in, I watched the whole thing, and I quite liked it. I found that it was actually very well made. So the premise, it's set in, I think it was, well, it was 1979, I think. I've only seen it once, and that was several months ago. So this is actually the one that I had the um, the weakest memory of, simply because it's only a one time watch several months ago. The other two are more recent watches. So I think it was 1979, and yeah, you do have this group of people who are making a porn flick on someone's farm. But the way the violence happens, the way the conflict happens, isn't what I expected. I'm not going to spoil anything here. I'll just say that. And I think probably what drew me in at first was the way it was just shot, that it looked good. So few movies these days look good, and it looked good. With the good cinematography, you could actually see things, and the day shots were nice. The night shots were nice. It was nicely composed, and it was nicely edited. It was well done technically. And so that got me definitely on board to a certain extent there. And then I found that the characters were actually, a step or two above just victim number one, victim number two in a horror film, right? That they had a bit more personality. They were more likable, root forable to various degrees. Some were more than others. And then the old couple was not what I was expecting. And I can't go into details there without really going into spoilers, I think. Which helps which, the fact that I don't have detailed memory of it helps, in not giving spoilers. But the movie had, I was like, my God, I remember at one point I was like, my gosh, this scene is actually really creepy. This movie has some legit creepy it has some legit moments of dread in there. It actually has good moments of dread. It has moments of creepiness. It has moments of ickiness. Definitely, there's going to be there's moments of ickiness. Um, but it's well done. And I was surprised by how much I liked it and how well done I thought it was. Um, and the porn aspect of it was um, not overdone. They showed a little bit of when they're active, when they're doing their doing their business, but they didn't do more than was kind of necessary to basically get it across. So it wasn't exploit. It wasn't excessive, if I remember correctly. So yeah, at the time I gave that movie an 8 out of 10, and I'll keep to that. Um, now this movie introduced. Okay, I'll just say that the people making the porn flick. There's the producer guy, the head guy, the guy calling the shots, making the arrangements. There's 3 people actually involved in front of the camera stuff. There's one guy, a black guy, and then 2 white chicks. One of them played by Mia Goth. The other played by an actress whose name I don't know. And then there's the guy who operates the camera, and the young woman who operates the sound, the microphone, who's the girlfriend of the guy who does the camera. And the girl who is the camera girl. The sound girl is played by Jenna Ortega. But this movie introduces 2 characters, Pearl and Maxxxine. Pearl is the old woman in the house, and like really old, like around 80. Okay, and Maxxxine is one of the porn stars or porn actresses. She's one of those. Okay. And they're both played by Mia Goth. So from there, this is pretty much the middle movie. From there, you go backwards to the origin story of Pearl, and then you go forwards to the further story of Maxxxine, right? So now moving on to Pearl, this one takes place in 1918, on the same farm. Okay, same location, which is it's kind of nice. It's kind of a welcome back. This is familiar territory. Oh, look, there's the house, there's the pond, there's the alligator, or there's that. And in this one, Pearl is a young woman. She's 18, 19, something like that, and she's lives on this farm with her mother and father. She is married, but her husband is in the service. He's off fighting in World War One. So she's with her parents. Her father is an invalid. He's completely incapacitated. All he can do is basically, move his eyelids, maybe, and his eyes, and swallow, and that's about it. That's about the limit of his capabilities. He can't move any other. He can't move any of his hand, his limbs or anything. His even his neck. His head is permanently kind of like that. Right? He can't talk, but he's alive. So his wife and daughter have to take complete care of him, and Maxxxine. Pearl's mother is a very strict, very serious German lady who sometimes speaks in German and sometimes speaks in English, and there doesn't seem to be rhyme or reason why she goes from one to the other, but whatever. And she's... Oh, by the way, the flu is going around at this point too. So she's very, very uh, serious about doing the farm work and getting whatever you can out of the farm. There's only two of them, two women to do the work. Um, Also, and to try to avoid the outside world, because the outside world has germs and it has temptations that might take away from the energies that are needed for the farm type thing. Um, and so she's pretty stern, pretty serious. And Pearl is wants to get away from the farm. She hates having to do all that work, and she's been wanting to get away from the farm, and she wants to be a star. She wants to be a dancer in the pictures, in the motion pictures, as the silent films were around them, and she loved going to them, and especially watching the dancing girls. Um, and she wants to be one of them. And her preferred way of getting away from the farm would be to be, in an entertainment company and being a star. Um, and so that's the setup. And there's a couple things that happen. She meets the projectionist at the movie theater. He's a bit of a bohemian hedonist. He's totally, not doesn't care about morals at all. But he is encouraging to her. He's like, "No, it's great to take care of your family, but take care of yourself too. And if you need to go, just take off and and I think there's some idea that when he goes to Europe, maybe should go with them, whatever." And then her in-law, her daughter, her sister-in-law, tells her that there's going to be a dance competition at their church. And of course, Pearl wants to desperately audition for that. I don't know if I could say much more without going into spoilers. I do want to mention two particular scenes, though. There's one scene where the mother and daughter have it out. They're at the dinner table and they have it out. The mother suddenly just lets it all out, and of course the daughter then reacts to that. And I was really surprised and shocked by the first time I watched it. I was like, because suddenly this stern woman reveals a lot. There's a lot more to her than we thought. We're just looking at her as this stern woman stereotype, but there's more there. And and I was like, whoa, where oh gosh, where did this come from? And it goes. It's a turning point in the film. So that's a really good scene. I'm not going to go into details here. And then there's a scene later on. It's close to the end of the film, actually, but where Pearl has a monologue. She's just sitting down talking for a long time. It goes on for a while. She's just sitting there just talking. The camera's just right there for the most part, and it's mesmerizing. Mia Goth just delivers on that monologue really impressively. It's a good monologue. It's a captivating and simple scene that so those are the two scenes that kind of stand out that I wanted to mention. Again, this movie is a beautifully done film. It's almost like an old-fashioned Technicolor film in a way. It's just the colors pop. The framing is good. The editing is good. It's a beautifully done film visually, and great performances from all the actors, Mia Goth and the others. I think it's a fantastic film, actually. I'd like to say more, but that would be going into spoiler territory. So I'm giving this one a It almost sounds like I'd give it a perfect 10 out of 10, but I'm not. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Okay. Now I'm going to Maxxxine, which I just saw for the first time a few days ago. Um, and I'll just straight up tell you it's my least favorite, definitely, of the three. It takes place in 1985. So 6 years after the events of X, we're catching up with Maxxxine, and this movie is a very different beast from the previous two films. The previous two films take place on that farm, whereas this movie takes place um, excuse me, in Hollywood. It takes place in Hollywood in 1985. So it's just everything's different. I mean, it's still colorful and it's still shot nice for the most part. Is it? Yeah, it's still shot fairly well. It's still the colors still pop. It's still fairly nice to look at. Um, but what's being shot is and the whole atmosphere of it is quite different from X and Pearl. And the story is much more convoluted as well. And I'm gonna get into spoiler territory pretty quick. What can I say without going to spoilers? Yeah, Maxine is in Hollywood. She's still doing porno, but right at the beginning of the movie, she gets an audition for a real movie, a horror movie, of course, and she lands the part. Okay, that happens pretty early on, so that's not really a spoiler. But at the same time, you have a serial killer going around. You have the what was it called? The Night Stalker or Night Strangler or something. An actual real life serial killer, I think. And then there's someone imitating the serial killer and taking out actresses, and those actresses are have had some connection, some um, familiarity with Maxine. So and then so there's that to deal with, and then there's a private detective bringing up the past. The private detective, um, played by Kevin Bacon, um, who brings up the whole X, everything that went on in that film, and and uh, and he just keeps stalking her, and I forget at this point. I've only saw it a few days ago, but I'm forgetting exactly what the point of all that was. I mean, as far as what he actually told her. But anyway, um, yeah, there's that. Oh, and there's the satanic panic is going on as well, and there's people, protesting, Hollywood as being like the instrument of the devil, and and uh, and taking um, taking the young people and putting them in the service of Satan or whatever. Okay, so that's the movie, but and let me give a rating here real quick before I get into what's going to be spoiler territory, or eventually going to be spoiler territory. Anyway, the probably yeah, I probably give this one like a 4 out of 10. Honestly, I didn't hate it, but it also left me with, well, I guess that was a thing, but it certainly did not leave me with anything close to the hey, that was pretty good reaction that I had with X and Pearl. Um, it tries to juggle a lot of things that just don't gel, that just don't congeal, and I'm not sure that I'm not sure that Ty was quite. I don't the tone that he was going for was. I mean, X and Pearl are pretty serious movies, and this movie feels kind of hokey in a way. Um, it's like he's trying to pay homage to different things, and Kevin Bacon's performance is very hammy, but it works for what it is. I mean, because it's either going to work or it's not, because it is what it is. Um, it's very, very hammy, but I enjoyed his performance. Mia Goth again gives a good performance, and her Maxxine's lawyer or handler or whatever, the guy who helps her around. I liked him. I liked his performance and that character. Um, but the 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 woman who plays, yeah, I'm gonna have to go in spoiler for both this film and for X and maybe even Pearl. The with Because when I initially read the product description on this thing, I thought it was basically going to be just Maxxine killing her way to the top. I thought that she was going to be the killer. Well, spoiler, she's not. um, I think I got confused because Mia Goth is playing these two characters, Pearl and Maxxine. I kind of got them mixed up in my head, and they both share ambition. They both want to be stars. They have that common theme, but that common desire. The difference is that Pearl is a psychopath, and Maxxine isn't. She can be aggressive, but she's not really a psychopath. So so her being a serial killer didn't quite fit that character the way that Ty was writing her. Maybe he thought that would just be too. It wasn't just it was interesting enough to him or something. Then the woman who is directing the movie that Maxxine is in, I thought she was going to be the killer. That would have been a better movie, I think. But I hated that character. I absolutely hated that character. That character is that she doesn't have dialogue. She has speeches. She never actually. All she does is give speeches. All she does is give like verbal essays and and stuff. She's always running some kind of monologue and critique of stuff. And she's trying to prove that she can make it in this town, that she's got what it takes, and yet everything she says about that town is derogatory. She's trying to make headway. She's trying to be success in this place and in this industry that she absolutely despises. She seems to be miserable all the time. It's like, so her being, and I was kind of expecting her to try to like seduce Maxxine or something, because she kind of felt like she could have been a predator or of some sort, but that never happened. That was that subject was never even approached. But she was just miserable the whole time, and I was just like, bitch, shut up and just leave. You hate it here. Why are you doing this? But in a way, she's kind of the perfect prototype or stereotype of a feminist, just insisting on getting involved in men's territory, and taking over and proving that she can do it too, and hating every moment of it, hating every aspect of it, but feeling obligated to follow, to be loyal to her feminist agenda. So there's that, I guess. And then the killer, and then the actual killer, winds up being Maxxine's father. Now, it was revealed in X that Maxxine's father was some preacher dude. This fire and brimstone revival type dude. And because through through that movie, we hear every now and then him preaching on the TV, and then at the end, he reveals that Maxine is his daughter, and he's continuing to do the preaching thing here, but it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make it. He's like, you know, that Hollywood is stealing our sons and daughters and giving them to the devil, and then he tries to like perform this fake exorcism on his daughter, and he's like, go with it. That person, you know, this is your big this is your big scene, exorcism scene or whatever, and it's just and it's like, what is he doing? Is he actually trying to? Does he actually believe a single thing he's saying? Is this all for show? And if it is for show, what's the point of the show? What it's I couldn't make heads or tails of this. It was, again, the performance was very hammy. It was over the top in a way that, you know, one of those preachers can be. But it just didn't. The religious aspect of it, the satanic panic, it just didn't really contribute to anything. It didn't go anywhere. There was no sense to it. And Maxine herself spends a lot of the movie just kind of reacting to things. I mean, she's not a particularly active protagonist here. I mean, a couple times she is, but for the most part, she's just like, I'll do anything for the part. I'll do anything for the part. But so Mia Goth doesn't get as much to do in this film as she did in the others. And in the end, she becomes a star, and she seems to actually be happy about it. So it's actually kind of a happy ending for her. Even though you have these movies that have been, you know, the theme. There's been a definite theme that the lust for fame and stardom can be a really horrible, destructive, and misleading thing. And yet, she's now achieved her fame, and she likes it. I guess it's a drug that she's still high on, but it just felt a little bit inconsistent with what had gone before. And the fact that Hollywood is portrayed as a horrible place, which it is, and also it's this is 1985, but it didn't really feel like it to me. Now, granted, I was 3-4 years old in 1985. I don't remember it, but I've noticed in some movies, modern movies, when they try to do period pieces, oftentimes they can't get the dialogue right, they can't get the attitude right, and the characters just come across as modern people speaking in modern ways with modern thoughts, just dressed, and they just happen to be dressing in vintage clothing and in vintage surroundings. And that's kind of what this felt like as well. It didn't, you know, it had the look, the definite look of the era, except for the director bitch. She just looked like your stereotypical dyke. But, but it didn't have the real feel of it. As far as my what I think of when I think of the 80s feel. But then again, it is Hollywood. It is a fake place, with fake people and horrible people, and as Chesterton once wrote about cinema back in the silent era days. It's a millionaire's like vulgar idea of the taste of the most vulgar millions or something like that. But or his opinion of their taste or whatever. But Anyway, yeah, Maxxine. It's got the the actress trying getting her new role and going for fame. It's got the serial killer thing in it. It's got the preacher dude in it. It's got the satanic panic thing in it. It's got 80s music in it. It's got you know it's got some good visuals in it. It's got a lot of elements. They don't all come together into a solid product for me. So um, yeah. Uh, so unfortunately, that was a disappointment. Like I said, I didn't hate it, but I was definitely disappointed in it after really liking X and Pearl. So that's that's the off the top of my head rambling spiel about these three movies. Um, so, and now I gotta check out some more Ty West stuff, see how he operates without Mia Goth. So, anyway, thanks for listening. Bye.